A house divided, recent clashes on the left. The Democratic Party thrives on an image of unity. They present themselves as a cohesive force, working together for the common good. They claim to be the party of the people, fighting for the little guy. Their message is one of inclusivity and progress, aiming to uplift the marginalized and ensure equality for all. But look closer. The cracks in their facade are growing wider, revealing deep ideological fissures within. These divisions are not just minor disagreements but fundamental differences in vision and approach. Take, for example, the recent clashes between establishment Democrats and the progressive wing. On issues like healthcare, climate change, and even foreign policy, the disagreements are stark. The establishment favors incremental change, while progressives push for sweeping reforms. The so-called squad openly criticizes moderate Democrats, accusing them of being out of touch and beholden to corporate interests. They argue that the party needs to be bolder and more aggressive in its policies. This isn't just healthy debate. It's a symptom of a deeper malaise, a sign that the party is struggling to find a unified direction. The Democratic Party is no longer a big tent. It's a pressure cooker of competing ideologies, held together by the fragile glue of electoral ambition. The tension is palpable and the stakes are high. The Democratic Party is no longer a big tent. It's a pressure cooker of competing ideologies, held together by the fragile glue of electoral ambition. The tension is palpable and the stakes are high. It's a pressure cooker of competing ideologies, held together by the fragile glue of electoral ambition. The tension is palpable and the stakes are high. This internal struggle is not new. The party has always had its factions, but it has reached a fever pitch in recent years. The rise of social media has given a platform to more radical voices, emboldening them to challenge the party establishment, but it has reached a fever pitch in recent years. The rise of social media has given a platform to more radical voices, emboldening them to challenge the party establishment. These voices are not just speaking out, they are mobilizing, organizing, and demanding change. The result is a party at war with itself, unsure of its own identity and direction. The debates are fierce and the divisions are deep. As the party grapples with these internal conflicts, the question remains, can they find a way to bridge these divides and present a united front to the electorate? Or will these clashes continue to undermine their efforts and weaken their position? Only time will tell. Beyond policy, the real roots of discord. It's tempting to dismiss these clashes as mere policy disagreements. After all, every political party has its internal divisions. These are often seen as natural and even healthy debates that help shape the party's direction. But the conflicts within the left run far deeper than policy. They are not just about different approaches to the same goal. They are rooted in fundamental differences in values, worldview, and even language. These differences shape how each faction sees the world and their place in it. On one side you have the traditional liberals, focused on incremental progress and working within the existing system. They believe that change, while necessary, should be gradual and measured. They believe in free speech even when they disagree with the message. To them, the marketplace of ideas is essential for a healthy democracy. They value individual rights and limited government. They see these principles as the bedrock of a free society. On the other side you have the new progressives. They are driven by a sense of urgency and moral righteousness that demands immediate action. They are driven by a sense of urgency and moral righteousness. They believe that the time for incremental change has passed. They see the system as inherently flawed, rigged against the marginalized. To them, the existing structures are not just imperfect, but fundamentally unjust. They are quick to silence opposing viewpoints, labeling them as hateful or dangerous. They argue that some ideas are too harmful to be given a platform. Compromise is seen as a betrayal. To them, compromising means conceding to an unjust system. This fundamental clash of values is what makes the current divide within the left so significant. It's not just a matter of different strategies but different end goals. It's not just about who gets to be in charge, it's about what kind of society they want to build. It's about the soul of the Democratic Party itself. This internal struggle is a battle for the party's identity and future direction, and by extension the future of the country. The outcome of this struggle will shape not just the party, but the nation as a whole. As these factions continue to clash, the stakes couldn't be higher. The decisions made today will reverberate for generations to come. Analysts and commentators are watching closely, understanding that this is more than just political theater. It's a defining moment in American politics. Young activists are particularly vocal, seeing this as their moment to shape the future. They are not just participants but leaders in this movement. Meanwhile, older voters express concern, worried that the party may be moving too far, too fast. They fear losing the core values that have long defined their political identity. Town hall meetings and public forums have become battlegrounds for these ideas. Here, the clash of values is most visible, as ordinary citizens voice their hopes and fears. The real roots of discord are complex and multifaceted. They go beyond policy and touch on the very essence of what it means to be part of a political community. Despite the divisions, there is a shared desire for a better future. The challenge lies in finding a path that honors the diverse perspectives within the party. As the sun rises on a new day, the hope is that these differences can be reconciled, leading to a stronger, more united movement. The illusion of unity. Votes over values. During election season, the left presents a united front. They downplay their differences, urging everyone to come together to defeat the common enemy. But this unity is often a facade, a cynical calculation to win power. Once the votes are counted and the dust settles, the internal divisions resurface with a vengeance. The promise of unity is a powerful tool. It allows the left to appeal to a broad coalition of voters, each with their own priorities and concerns. But this coalition is inherently unstable. It's held together by the promise of victory, not by shared principles or a coherent vision for the future. The left is happy to exploit this dynamic as long as it serves their electoral interests. But this strategy comes at a cost. It breeds cynicism and distrust among voters, and it makes it impossible to govern effectively. Section 4. Broken Promises, the left's betrayal of trust. The left's cynical use of unity as an electoral strategy has real-world consequences. They often present themselves as the champions of the common people, promising to bridge divides and bring about a new era of inclusivity and fairness. However, these promises often ring hollow once the election season is over. Time and again, they have promised the moon to their base, only to abandon those promises once in power. This pattern is not just a series of isolated incidents but a recurring theme that has left many feeling betrayed. Remember the promises of affordable health care for all or a living wage? These were not just casual remarks but central tenets of their campaigns, designed to galvanize support and mobilize voters who desperately needed change. These were powerful slogans that mobilized millions of voters. The energy and hope at these rallies were palpable, with people believing that real change was on the horizon. But they were never accompanied by realistic plans for implementation. The lack of concrete strategies and detailed policies meant that these promises were doomed from the start, leaving supporters disillusioned. The result? Disappointment, disillusionment, and a sense of betrayal among those who believed the hype. The emotional toll on these supporters is significant as they feel their trust has been exploited for political gain. This pattern of broken promises has become so predictable that it's hard not to see it as intentional. The repeated cycle of high hopes followed by crushing disappointment suggests a calculated strategy rather than mere incompetence. The left is happy to exploit the hopes and dreams of their supporters to win elections. They craft their messages to resonate deeply with the electorate, knowing full well that they may not follow through. But they have no intention of delivering on those promises. The gap between their rhetoric and their actions is stark, leaving many to question their true motives. This is not just bad policy. The implications go far beyond the immediate political landscape, affecting the very fabric of trust in democratic institutions. It's a fundamental breach of trust. When politicians fail to keep their promises, it erodes the public's faith in the political system as a whole. And it's one of the main reasons why the left is facing such a crisis of legitimacy today. The repeated betrayals have led to a growing sense of cynicism and apathy among voters, who feel that their voices are not truly being heard. Section 5. The Price of Dissent, Cancel Culture, and its Casualties. One of the most disturbing aspects of the modern left is its intolerance of dissent. Any criticism, no matter how well-intentioned, is met with swift and brutal retribution. This culture of censorship, often referred to as cancel culture, has created a climate of fear and conformity within the left. People are afraid to speak their minds, lest they be branded as heretics and ostracized. We've seen countless examples of this phenomenon in recent years. Professors fired for challenging the prevailing orthodoxy on campus, journalists silenced for expressing dissenting views, comedians blacklisted for telling jokes deemed offensive. The message is clear. Toe the line or face the consequences. This is not how a healthy movement operates, it's how cults and authoritarian regimes operate. The left's embrace of cancel culture is a sign of its intellectual and moral bankruptcy. It's also deeply un-American. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support helps us continue to bring you thought-provoking content.